Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. I hope everybody's gotten the new start time and day, Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. So just so people aren't a bit confused, yes, you are on the right day. This week we're going to talk about last Monday's blog, which was all about dealing with procrastination. And the blog is up there. It's at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com. So do go and check it out for more details. So what I'll do is I'm going to just briefly outline what it is, and we'll go from there. I will go through all the hints and tips that I've given you on how to deal with it. So, procrastination. We've all found something that we don't want to do. Absolutely. We're all guilty of that. I mean, let's face it, there are some jobs, who wants to do them, repetitive jobs, particularly housework and things like that. I don't like doing housework, to be honest. I have to kind of force myself to do it, and I don't like it. And it's like, I have to do it. So I have to, very much I will procrastinate if I can get away with it. We can all find something in our work or in our private life that we procrastinate about, and that's perfectly normal. Absolutely, totally normal. One thing I will highlight this week is, and I've highlighted in the blog, is there is chronic procrastination, and that can be linked to stress, depression, sleep issues, anxiety in particular, and ADHD. So it can be procrastination can become a condition, and it can be linked to other mental health conditions or a disability. Now, that list that I've just said is not all inclusive. So, just know that chronic procrastination is out there. It is very treatable. It can be treated very quickly and very effectively. So I just wanted to highlight that is, that can be a problem for some people. Now there are basically types of procrastinators, and the first one being anxiety procrastinators. So that would be a coping mechanism for people with anxiety. Then as a coping mechanism, we have fun procrastinators. And they are they want to do anything other than work. They want to have fun all the time. That's very simplified, but you can check out more detail in the blog. We have the plenty of time procrastinators, and I think that's the one most people can relate to. You have a project, you have a deadline coming up, but you think you have more time than you actually do, or the procrastination happens and you put off dealing with the project or getting that done. And there's a very simple technique to actually deal with that, which I outline in the blog. And then there's the perfectionist type of procrastinator. And of course, they feel that, something can't be started or cannot be finished or can't be done at all unless it's perfect, unless it's absolutely perfect. So that would be the 4 types of procrastination. I say, how do you deal with procrastination? So awareness, absolutely a must. I give you 11 tips on how to deal with it, and then there is in fact a 12th one, and we'll come to that at the end. So the awareness is the first. You must be aware that you're doing it in the first place. We all have to, and we have to be aware of what it is, and we have to be aware maybe of of what type of procrastinator we are, whether it's anxiety, fun, plenty, or perfectionist. Then if you need help, if you recognize that, as I said, procrastination, there is a condition called chronic procrastination. So if you have that problem, you have to go and get help. It is very easy to treat, as I said. And even if you feel, the procrastination has become a problem for you, then go and get help. And I'll talk to getting a coach and a buddy system in place in a few minutes. Catastrophizing. we're all guilty. We can be all guilty of doing that too, where we think, oh God, it's going to be too much work. It's going to be, and we get caught up in our negative thoughts. We get caught up in negativity around the project, maybe, or around, even the housework. We get caught up, like me. I said to you, I didn't like doing housework. It does have negative connotation for me. So therefore, I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to, it's become negative. So you have to become aware of those thought patterns that you're using around that project, or around a routine piece of work that you do. We tend not to have that around fun things that we do. If we find something fun and exciting, we don't have any catastrophe. We don't have all that catastrophizing going on in our head. We don't have those negative thoughts associated with it. The next one would be very, very important in helping you to deal with procrastination. It's to know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you cleaning your house? Why? Even if if it's for work reasons, or you have a business, and you're feeling that you're getting bogged down in procrastination with regards to a particular project, or your work in general, or your business in general, go back to your why. Why are you doing this? What got you started in the first place? Why do you enjoy doing this, or why do you want to do this even? So get to know your why. That is so, so important. That has to be a main focus that you'll have. And it always, if you can go back to your why and it's true to yourself, it has to be true to yourself. If you're doing it for somebody else, it's not going to work, guys. It has to be, for you. Your why has to be for you, and you have to get something out of it. Even if it's a wage packet at the end of the day, it has to be something that gives you something. Be realistic. That's the next one. Be realistic about timelines, setting goals. Are you taking on too much? Is what you're doing too much work? Are you not allowing enough time for it? You're not being realistic. Can you achieve what you're trying to achieve without asking for help? Maybe that's unrealistic. Think about the actual project you're doing, the work you're doing. Do you need support? Do you need that help on board? And that comes to the next point, which is being honest with yourself. So, what's really going on? Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What is behind or underneath the procrastination? Maybe it's a fear. Maybe it's, maybe you feel guilty. Maybe, think about it. It doesn't have to be negative, but think about it. Be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. And that ties into the realism. And also it'll tie into the final point I'll make at the end. As I said, get a buddy, get the help if you need help. Help doesn't have to come from a therapist. You don't have to have chronic procrastination and go to a therapist. If you have procrastination, you find procrastination, you've been honest with yourself and you say, okay, I'm really struggling with this project, or I am a procrastinator maybe by nature. I'm trying to work on my negative thoughts about things. I'm trying to work on myself. Get a buddy. Research has shown that having a buddy or having a colleague to help, to support you, to be accountable with anything is always important. Always important. A coach. Get a coach, and a coach can be somebody for different areas of your life. So when when we do a life review, and I've talked about doing that before, maybe there's a particular area in your life you're procrastinating, you find you procrastinate more around. Get a coach to do with that particular area, and get different coaches for different areas. Somebody who's dealing with your private life may not be suitable to deal with a business. If you're a business owner or you're in business and you need coaching around that, the same person may not be, good for doing both. You might need a business coach, somebody, maybe a mentor, somebody like that. You might need somebody like that. That always is a great way of getting out of, or moving you forward or holding you accountable with regards to your work and your life. The next thing would be to optimize your environment. Now I'm talking about your physical environment here. So, if you're finding you're struggling with something as simple as housework, maybe minimizing the amount of clutter you have in your house. That's going to be very uplifting as well to your mental health. But, what is working in this environment? If it's a business and you work from home, what works where you sit down to do your work or where you work, the environment in which you work? Is it working for you? Do you need help organizing it? What is causing you to be distracted? And we will all be distracted, particularly, if you're working on a computer, a laptop, a tablet, or even your mobile phone is necessary. If you're constantly having those ding, 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 ding of all these messages coming through from various social media, you're going to be distracted. So you have to turn them off. You have to time block. You have to allow yourself time. Okay, between 11 and half 11, I will go on social media. If you want to be on social media, go at that time. Allow yourself time. Time block it in to your day. Next point is to have a reward and treat system in place. We all need treats, and I said that before. Retreats are given freely. They are given on a daily basis. They don't cost any money for the most part. It could be a cup of coffee. You buy yourself a cup of coffee, something small like that. A reward is something bigger. And rewards, even if the project didn't get done, but you got there, eventually, you're going to finish in the next week or two. Or you're going to finish, you may not have finished on the deadline because of whatever circumstances. Give yourself a reward anyway. Don't withhold a treat or a reward. Always, if you've set yourself a reward that which costs money, and you're going, or you're something that you're big, a reward that you feel is a big reward for you, do not withhold it. Even if you miss the deadline, do not withhold it. That is so, so important. The next two things will be very tied into one another. Is forgiving yourself. They say the past is the past, so we should let it go. But also remember, procrastination can become a vicious circle with negative feelings. So, it'll rise up guilt and shame. So therefore, we can get caught up very quickly. Got caught up in with procrastination, guilt, shame, negative feelings, negative thoughts appear in the head. A vicious cycle happens. And we get so caught up in that. And that's what I say about becoming aware of how you're thinking, and becoming aware of what kind of procrastinator you are is so important. Recognize that you may help yourself. You may be trying to move yourself forward. You get your buddy in place, you get your colleague in place, you get your coach in place, you get a therapist in place, whatever. Slips happen. Slips, relapses happen. It's a new habit you're learning. Okay, procrastination is effectively a habit that we get into. So we are learning a new habit, and therefore we want to move ourselves forward and out of that. But we have to recognize that slips and relapses happen. So we go, okay, it happened. And the main thing is that you're able to pick yourself up and keep going forward, and allow, recognize that this slip is going to happen, and nobody's perfect. And it's good enough. It's good enough. Always say, say to you, I'm good enough. So the final is working up there a lot. So the point 11 on the blog would be drop perfectionism. For a lot, if you're a perfectionist procrastinator, you'll get caught up on things not being good enough. In that case, you have to really, you'll have put in place all the things that I've said before, but you are going to have to get to a place where it is acceptable to you that things are getting better. So it's like you are stepping it up. Every time you do a project, you're getting better. It's good enough. If it's good enough, you do it. It's going to get better every time you do it. So you allow yourself to release the project, or to at least do the work and let it out there. Perfectionism is a hard one. If you're very much caught up in perfectionism, So I would say to you, if you're caught up in perfectionism, please go and talk to somebody. A few sessions with a therapist will help you there to realize that you are good enough, that the work you produce is good enough, and that, work towards getting better, that the work is getting better, and then let that go. Now, the final point, and the most important point for somebody that has procrastination, is time management. Okay, very important to identify a good time management system for you. As I said, if you get distracted and things like that, and you have your distractions, you become aware of your plenty of time procrastinator. You need good time management, and I've listed out a number of time managements. I've done some time management in this blog, but there's a whole blog on time management, so go check it out. Time management is really going to be key to help you getting over procrastination or getting you through procrastination. In terms of the plenty of time, for instance, procrastinator, research shows us that setting your own deadline earlier than the deadline you have helps there. That's very key. So if you're given a deadline of 3 months down the road, you set it for only 2 months down the road, and you break down your project to fit into that time, that 2 months. If the 2 months is going to be too long, then shorten it. 6 weeks. Bring it back until it's the very timeline, and that you'll put yourself under pressure to get that work done. Always shrink it down, because it's better to do it that way than keep the 3 month. 3 months down the line, that's plenty of time. Actually, that's plenty of time. I'll get that done. Plenty of time. So, to set your own deadline is key there, particularly for plenty of time procrastinators, will be to do that. So, time management. So, I'm going to leave it there for this week, and I will be back to you next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So, do check out the blog, www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com, and hi to everybody who's watching this morning, particularly Deirdre, because I know she watches every week religiously. She's wonderful. So thank you all again, and I will see you next Saturday. Goodbye.